Real Madrid is certainly one of the most successful clubs in Europe. In this year's season, Carlo Ancelotti's side are eyeing a historic double, with the Englishman surrounded by a sublime supporting cast. This was supposed to be a difficult season for Real Madrid. With Karim Benzema gone and no Kylian Mbappe to replace him, Carlo Ancelotti's side were expected to go through something of a transitional season. Instead, they have regained La Liga's title and are favourites to win a 15th European Cup after reaching the Champions League final. Many players have stepped up to make this such a memorable campaign at Santiago Bernabeu. Vinicius Jr has stepped up in the biggest moments. Jude Bellingham has enjoyed a debut season to remember, while the soon-to-retire Toni Kroos has rolled back the years in midfield. With that in mind, the 90-minute matchup evaluated the performance of the players and selected the 10 best players of the season for the Spanish royal team. 10. Aurelien Tchouameni. Tchouameni hasn't been able to settle in one position this season. Initially a standout at his preferred number 6 slot, he has bounced around, and has been forced to stand in as a centre-back on occasion. A couple of knocks have impacted an otherwise impressive sophomore campaign. 9. Eduardo Camavinga. Camavinga can do it all, and finally this season, Ancelotti allowed the Frenchman to operate from his preferred central midfield position. Madrid have reaped the rewards, with Camavinga becoming a fine box-to-box presence. 8. Rodrigo. Rodrigo has made it clear that he doesn't like playing as a right-sided forward on a number of occasions, but his stats would suggest otherwise. The Brazilian has 26 goal contributions in all competitions, and has managed to stay fit in a campaign where Los Blancos have struggled with a number of knocks all over the pitch. He could certainly do with being more consistent. He disappears from games too often, but the Brazilian has been vital this year. 7. Dani Carvajal. Who knew that quitting gluten could be so impactful? Carvajal changed his diet this off-season, and it certainly showed. He looked old last campaign, but this season he could be seen scampering up and down the right side like a younger version of himself. A couple of knocks notwithstanding, the right-back has rediscovered his best this year. 6. Federico Valverde. Valverde is good enough to get into this side based on his running power and ability to cover ground alone. The Uruguay international embraced a deeper role this season with aplomb, and has become a perfect versatile midfielder. An unsung hero of one of the continent's best teams. 5. Brahim Diaz. First, he stepped in for Vinicius. Then, he filled the void left by Bellingham. And after 3 years away, Brahim looks a perfect fit in the bright lights of Madrid. There are very few better backup attacking players in top-level football at the moment. 4. Antonio Rudiger. He wasn't supposed to play much this year, but Militao's injury forced Rudiger into action. Fortunately for Madrid, there's been little to no drop-off. Rudiger played Erling Haaland killer in the Champions League quarter-final win over Manchester City, and seems a lock to start in the final. One of the best in Europe in 2023-24. 3. Toni Kroos. Kroos has enjoyed an interesting 12 months. He's been magical for Ancelotti's side this season, pinging the ball around with glee and assisting at a rate he hasn't reached in years. His form could be key as Germany look to achieve glory at Euro 2024, though that will unfortunately be the final time we get to see him in action after his shock retirement announcement. 2. Vinicius Jr. It took Vinicius a while to get going this season, with form and injuries impacting the first half of his campaign. But once he found his groove, the Brazilian has been brilliant as ever. A devastating dribbler, who has scored goals in bunches, he is the key to Madrid's European dreams. 1. Jude Bellingham. Surprised? You shouldn't be. Bellingham has been Madrid's best player this season, and although he won't score 40 goals, he has still redefined the way Ancelotti's team play. 23 goals, 12 assists and a number of season-saving moments, not a bad way to start what should be an illustrious career in Spain.